on site. You could buy them. I had the hookup though. I don't even smoke cigarettes, y'all. I had this one lady, God bless her. I'm not gonna say her name, but she's still in my heart. I still have the Bible verse that she gave me. And she had bought a carton for her roommate who ended up like going AWOL or something. And she's like, girl, you need some cigarettes? And she used to give me cigarettes by the pack so I didn't have to keep paying for them. And cigarettes are cheaper in Georgia than they are in New Jersey. You cannot afford that habit in New Jersey. I'm just saying. I don't smoke no more.
Go, girl. DOC is drug of choice for anyone who is listening and may not be familiar with that, and that could be alcohol or any form of drugs, but that's what DOC stands for.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of To the Last Drop. I'm Dominique Spinelli.
And I'm Shelly Robbins.
Today's episode is near and dear to our hearts. We've got two very special guests that we connected with in rehab. It's been about 9 months. We are all here, sober and living in our truth, and we're excited to introduce our guests today.
Hello, Vicky.
I'm Amy Holt.
To the right is my heart, my good friend, Amelia.
Hey, Dominique.
Hey, Amy.
I figured out about Mount Sinai because I was also at another rehab before that, and they recommended that if I did have to go back for more treatment, that it might be better to go somewhere like Mount Sinai and try something that was kind of outside of my comfort zone because I'd already been to this facility before. So I tried Mount Sinai, and that's where I met you guys.
I'm Vicky Ceballos. I'm actually out here from Arizona. I moved out here after going to Mount Sinai, and I found Mount Sinai through a friend and some research, and yeah, it brought me all the way out here to Atlanta.
Yeah, so I am so excited for both of you to be here. Vicky, Amy, I'm so excited to see you guys. And I know when I first found Mount Sinai, I actually heard of it back in December, but I decided to go in May. And when I arrived, I actually saw Dominique first. She's the one that helped me get out the car. She was glowing in the lawn under the sun. And it helped me get out that car and make that step. But then moving forward, we actually shared our group therapy sessions. All four of us were in the same group therapy session. So we spent 2 hours a day together every single day. And then eventually we were all moved into a cabin together. So we were definitely be able to get to know one another more on a deeper level. So I'm really excited for the both of them to be here with us.
So this is my first experience doing a rehab, and I came all the way out from Arizona. So I just kind of was on the low key about it. I didn't even want anybody to know in the beginning where I was at, let alone that I was just trying to recover, get back to my normal self. I had a lot of different ideas of what it was going to be like, but it definitely, I'm just glad that I was able to get into a rehab like Mount Sinai because I've heard a lot of stories, so that it kind of made me nervous going into it. So when I did my research even in the beginning, I was just I literally searched like the best rehab. Like I just heard different stories. So it made me nervous. It just made me always just have my eyes out. My girl Dominique, she already knows. She definitely held me going, kept me going in there. But it was nice to be able to find people that you actually do connect with, relate to, share things about with, because it was just, you're living with these people. And I know Shelly was saying that we had we shared 2 hours every morning together or every day, but it was literally more than that. We were living together, sleeping together, waking up together, eating together.
Drinking coffee together.
Having a little cigarette, because that's all we could have together. A little schmiggity. It reminded me of my very dearest friend, my best friend, and her mom, literally in one together. So it was like kind of like meant to be, had me thinking so. Because I was nervous, because I wasn't gonna know nobody, let alone not have that spirit, or like my friend that just making sure that reassuring me that everything's gonna be okay. And as soon as I go in there, I end up meeting Dominique, and I was like, it's meant to be. And it instantly just made me feel like ease, more relaxed, actually getting to know her, praying together, just everything. It was great. We definitely did a lot of manifestation. So that's one thing that we definitely It wasn't just once or twice, but we were manifesting literally everything that we wanted there, how we wanted things to be, let alone being in the cabin, sharing a room together, to getting people out of the cabin. I don't want to say mean girl status, but
It was mean. It was mean.
But I mean, you know, so it was an experience. It was an experience. So
Call it clean girl status, because
Yeah.
we still here.
sober, still sober. So Michelle came in a little after, but I was so grateful to meet her as well, because instantly, I mean, we both clicked. And like we were saying, we were all able to have that experience together, being in a cabin. And we were there for each other when we were at our lowest there. So I appreciate that, because I was ready to check out of the place. And my Domine, my spirit over here, left already at this time. Her time was already had came. So it was a point where I was almost about to just get out of there, because things weren't going, or they were just going a certain ways. And yeah, Michelle here was able to like help me and just build me back up, tell me that I got this, and that I don't need to be leaving because of somebody else. And I made it this far to where I had maybe a week left or so.
Yeah.
So you helped me stay there, pull through it all, and I appreciate you. I really do.
You're welcome, and it was reciprocated because you did the same for me one night, so
Yes,
appreciate it.
of course.
So I knew that you were like a little agitated and upset or emotional, the fact that Domine left, because I came in maybe about 2 weeks after they had already been there. And you could tell you were antsy, and I forget who it was, and even if I remember, we're not going to say no names, but the lady that was there, the girl that was there, she got moved into the cabin. And they already had some kind of beef. You had some beef with her or something like that. You didn't want her in there due to, I think it was religious aspect, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Something like that. But you were ready to just go. Like you were saying, I'm going to call my best friend. She's going to be outside the gate. I'm running through the forest. I'm throwing the bag over. Like, you're not going to keep me here. And she's like running up to the office, and she was just upset, and you were very upset and emotional, and I really thought you were going to end up really trying to leave, but I was like, girl, you're not leaving. Like, you were on the bed, and I'm like grabbing you, like, you need to just chill and calm down. Like, it's not worth it to throw your sobriety away. I know some of the staff had got involved with that. I even called Domine. I was like, if you don't talk to your girl and tell her to stay, she's almost made the 30 days. So through those conversations, I realized the staff couldn't calm you down, none of that, but you and I were able to see each other in that moment. And I think it was more of like, okay, Shelly understands and I understand her, and you kind of just digressed, and the situation got a little bit calmer, and you didn't go anywhere. So I'm really proud of you for that you didn't take off. I think all four of us understood that. Like, we were there for a reason. I can't remember exactly what their DOC was, but I know the feeling of being let go or not feeling valuable or important enough to somebody else to be like, no, you're worth it. And she was worth it. We all are.
Yes.
And I know how hard it was for me to get myself to rehab, to get through each day, to do all those things. And although we have different backgrounds, we shared a very common denominator there. And we were each other's support system, even though we didn't know each other 2 weeks prior. And I knew her friend left, and I wanted her to know that she still had someone here, even if it was still just for a short period of time, that today, that she's not alone, and she's made it this far, and that she's worth it.
I had tried to get an extension. For like 2 or 3 days. Either way, she still would have had a few days without me, but it was hard. It was hard because she was like my little sister. Like, literally, she's just like my little sister. So when I saw, like, when we did the therapy, at the end you have something called a coin out, where pretty much everyone blesses you with you get an actual coin, and they pass it around, and they like bless you, or they say their 2 cents. And with Vicky, and I think I lost the recording. I have permission to record it too, just so y'all know. But with Vicky, when she said like, you're like my sister and all that, and I was like, dang, I feel the same way. Like, this is the first time that we actually said it, but I was like, she was just like, what? We had Selena, we was in there. What? Bitty. We was good. So yeah, it was sad. And then when I got the call, I think I had been home for like a whole day.
Yeah.
I had been home for a whole day. I had just laid in the bed. I get a call from Shelly. I pick up the phone. She's like, Vicky is spazzing out. She want to leave. She want to go AWOL. Like, she leaving. She don't care. And you just hear Vicky, I don't give a if she don't leave, I'ma leave. And I'm like, Vicky, I'm on the FaceTime, like, Vicky, you want to go outside and have a smoke? Like, and we didn't have smoke, so we had schmiggities. We were smoking schmiggities.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a schmig. She was still walling for respect. Talking about I don't have to deal with this. As soon as y'all go to sleep, I'm leaving. Like, she was bugging. So
It was like, I guess, kind of little things here and there, but like one, I guess what set me off was one of the girls who was there, second time around, so it wasn't her first experience at Mount Sinai, mind you, it's my first time there. They ended up trying to move her into a cabin that I was in, and she just had different, had different beliefs than I did, and there was just things that she was doing that I wasn't necessarily okay with, let alone being in the same cabin or sleeping under the same roof with her. So I went and talked to staff. I even ended up coming to the main honcho there to talk to him, tell him what's going on. Because the staff there too weren't really like, you can tell they were just there for the time, but they weren't really doing what they needed to do. Or like if you voiced something, it was just going in one ear and out the other, is almost how I felt. So I wasn't really being heard. And I know everybody went in there differently. I say that because I had to put money into this place out of pocket because I didn't have any insurance. And I put in a lot of money for this place. Too much money. It would be ridiculous for people for me to even say it. But so I'm not necessarily saying that I had more of a toll, but I just wanted to be heard on my reasons why. And it just wasn't happening. And this other female that was trying to move into the cabin started putting herself up here on a pedestal, trying to say like, I've been here before. This is my second. Like, I was in this cabin already, and I'm gonna be in this cabin. And I was like, no, you're not.
And in my bed. So it was like the energy had changed, I would assume.
And it just kind of was set off from there because eventually they didn't try to fix the situation and they just let it. And I told them what would happen if they allowed that or if they just left it. They did, and they let things go further into an altercation almost. But I'm just grateful that they did eventually listen and they got her out of my cabin. But it just little things that set me off. And while that was for the money I'm spending, I'm like I can't, like, why am I going to put up with all this craziness?
So I know you had said that you weren't being heard, and I know I can definitely relate to that. Mm-hmm. Where do you think that was like stemming from? I'm sure it wasn't like right there in the moment. That was the first time you felt that way. Is that maybe something that came from your childhood? You were triggered? Is there a time that maybe you didn't feel heard before?
That's great that you brought it up, actually. Yes, it goes back just to, I guess you guys can call it trauma. Being younger, my parents raised us the best that they could, gave us everything that we wanted or could ask for. But as far as the actual affection for showing love or listening or being heard, it was always like I had to fight my own battles when I was younger, because if I ever said anything to my parents, which I did once when I can't even tell you how young I was, but I was pretty young. And I did bring up to my dad, like, I think maybe I need to see see like a therapist, and I was told that I would want attention, and it just it just made me grow up like a lot quicker too at the same time, because it's like I've got to be there for myself. I got to keep myself strong. I know that my parents love me and they'll do anything for me, but everybody's just, my parents are old school, so it's not nothing that I hold against them.
So do you,
But
oh, go ahead.
no, it's just, yeah, that's not being heard growing up, was definitely, yeah.
So I was just thinking, like, the fact that, you had elaborated on the fact that you spent so much money to go to rehab. Do you kind of feel like maybe you paid the price to go and to be heard and to be seen and to be healed and things like that? Like, I paid for this experience.
Yeah.
And, I'm not just asking for a handout, not saying that validation is a handout, but almost an expectation behind it, since you did pay that price.
In a way, yeah. I don't want to sound like petty or anything, but yeah, because it was just like I didn't go out of my way to like tell people or put my business out there, because I mean it's kind of silly. I was hearing from everybody, just about everybody, that everybody was there on insurance for free, and I put a lot of money down, and to not be heard, or to not like, it took me a while to even get, or like a few days to even get in a cabin, and that almost like. It was a lot going on, and even speaking to the main one that's running the place, I even almost basically went off on this guy, and I'm like, look, you gotta see where I'm coming from at the same time, because I put money to be here, and I came by choice. It's not like I was sent here, or I have to be here because I'm gonna end up in jail or whatever the case may be. I came all the way from Arizona to get the best treatment, and it was almost something that I was expecting.
Hey guys, this episode is brought to you by Jacalo. We are the #1 luxury brand that empowers you to be yourself and look fly doing it with the flyest hoodies and sweatshirts. So go over to jacalo9.com or join us on social media at jacalo_9 to pick up your flyest hoodies and sweatshirts and rock the model with us. We'll be waiting for you over there.
All right, so you came here all the way from Arizona. You needed treatment on a high level, right? Mm-hmm. What was your DOC, and what breaking point was it that you said, hey, I gotta go get the best treatment. I don't care where I have to go, how much I gotta pay, but I know I need help.
So my DOC was actually kind of like a cocktail. I was doing opiates, and in Arizona, they're really bad out there, hence I'm out here. I know it's like this everywhere you go, but I mean in Arizona, it just got to the point where fentanyl was in everything just about. And so yeah, it was fentanyl in the opiates that I was taking. I was doing, I had got spiked one time. After that, I guess you can say I liked it. And I ended up doing, before I say how I got, or when I started that, I was actually doing, Xanax. I was doing opiates and Xanax. That progressed, and it just, my body, my tolerance, I was doing more and more. Trying to stay professional back home. Weeks go by, or months or whatever, and it's just like, you slowly start to lose yourself. And I knew I was getting there. Eventually I got spiked with meth. And yeah, so it was kind of like a cocktail, and I would be up, and then I would take something to be down, and it was just kind of like, my days were literally just crazy, felt crazy. There was nights I wouldn't sleep, even doing, and then, I would try to do more, opiates are downers, Xanax is also a downer. So even doing that, there'd be nights I can't sleep, because when I started doing meth, it was like an upper. So it's like, it was wild. It was wild, but it got to the point where I was just so far caught up in it, and I actually ended up overdosing, and it was not good. It was horrible, and I nearly lost my life. I'm blessed to be here, to even be speaking about this, because I said I would never even open up, let alone be here saying all of this. That's why I moved away, so nobody would know. But
So, man, and I know that had to be a lot to OD. And if you could tell me maybe after that point of OD, when you realized, when you came to, I don't know exactly what that experience may have looked like to you, but after the fact, and you said, damn, I gotta go get help. Like, if you could maybe tell me, like, that moment where you knew, like, this is it, I have to go. And how soon after, from the point you OD'd to you got to Mount Sinai?
Well, it's actually, this wasn't my first time around. I did opiates and I got clean, and that was before fentanyl came out. And it was tough. I did it on my own. I was never familiar with going to rehabs or, you know, treatment centers or anything like that. I do have family though that are in addiction. But my first time around, I got clean, and I actually reached out to my mom, and she was there for me, you know, because it wasn't fun, and I had been through it with people in the past, helping them get clean. So I just couldn't find believe, you know, how I got myself to that point, knowing what people went through when they went through withdrawals and all of that stuff. But I got clean the first time. I stayed sober for maybe 3 months, and the anniversary actually ended up coming for my dog that's been with me for nearly 20 years. And just my baby. I don't have kids or anything. She was my baby. But so it's just kind of like, in my career too, I'm always there for everybody, and I just lost myself. And I ended up, when I said I needed help the second time, it's because I started doing a cocktail and mixing it all. I didn't even know how to get off of it. In my profession, I didn't want anybody to see what I was doing or to notice. Family started to catch on a little bit, and that's when it hit me, you know. But it didn't hit me until it actually was like almost too late. And I overdosed, and my little sister actually is the one who found me. And I lived alone, so, you know, she literally broke into my house, and she saw me there, laying literally dead, just about, and well, I'm still here, so it's not my time yet.
For those of you who don't know Vicky, she's a dope beautician. She does so much work with men, women, makeup, everything. What? She was in the rehab cutting hair, and I was selling eyelashes. Just a little backstory. We was cooking it up in there, okay? We even had guys they were only allowed to the porch, remember? But we even had guys at our cabin getting their hair cut sitting on the porch. So Vicky is the truth. And like Michelle and I, Vicky works for herself. She's an entrepreneur. So, Vicky, let me ask you, as an entrepreneur, fighting your addiction, what did that look like for you?
It was tough. It's probably been one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, let alone, you know, from getting sober. But I'm actually, I'm a cosmetologist and I'm a barber. I'm universal, so I do both the women and men's side. I do lashes, I do waxing. So I've been licensed since 2014, had all my experiences in a salon and a barber shop up until I was able to start working for myself. And that actually started when COVID hit. And so I think that was honestly like the hardest. Till this day, it's still, it's tough because I had so much responsibility from my clientele just over the years. My loyal clients that I take care of every week or every 2 weeks, or, you know, whenever the case is there, I'm supposed to be there. And I had to take a step back from reality because, like I said, I'm always doing for everybody and making sure I'm always there on time and getting everybody right. But towards my addiction in the end, like I said, family kind of started catching on. And while I was already trying to get clean again before going to Mount Sinai, or before I even had overdosed, I was already trying to get clean, and it was hard. It was really hard. But as I started to try to get clean, I was going through what they call them withdrawals. And they were really bad for where I was at, to the point where, you know, if I'm like fading somebody up, I start shaking and I have to go do some more of my stuff just to kind of ease me. So it was hard. It was definitely hard, but ultimately leaving, and now I'm out here in Georgia still. It still bugs me. It really does. The fact that I kind of just up and left in a way. Because a lot of my clients too, nobody knows what happened or why I left or what, even if anything, if I'm okay. So it just feels good to be back to my normal self and be able to just talk about it though and build myself back up, because I know I did it once, I could do it again, and I know what I'm meant for. So I must continue doing what I'm doing.
I'm glad to hear it. And to whoever lost their cosmetologist, I'm sorry, because there's nothing like losing your hair person.
Right.
So now, Vicky, that you're free and level again, what does your business look like to you? Or even if you're not currently doing it full time, what do you see for yourself in the future? Let's manifest again.
I definitely see myself being better than I was. Like I said, I'm back. I feel good. I've been sober. I actually have 9 months sober on the 28th, so in a couple days. So my energy is there. I'm just ready to do it. I know there's a lot of opportunity out here in Georgia, so it's not like I just fell off the earth. I'm gonna come back, and I'm just gonna come back even stronger. And I'm hoping to eventually be able to do more of the traveling and still go back home and still take care of my business that I had back home, and still be out here, because this is what I'm calling my new home right now. So just excited to just go forth. But I am still in my career. I haven't got into a shop or a salon. Haven't necessarily even went into a booth, just because of my clientele purposes. I got to build myself up. But I have all my equipment out here. I have all, what I need to do to work. And I love it. So if you guys need a barber or somebody to get you right, let me know.
We're going to plug her Instagram down below. Yeah. Book. Because ain't nobody doing a dye job like my girl Vicky over here.
All right, so our next guest here is Amy. If you could go ahead and just elaborate on how you found Mount Sinai as well, why you're here, and your experience.
I found Mount Sinai after I had relapsed after a previous treatment, and I knew that I still wanted to stay clean. I did not want to go back out, so I went pretty much immediately back into another treatment facility. So I'd probably at that day spent close to 2 or 3 months institutionalized, and just I still didn't want to go back out on the street. Treatment is hard, but there's not a single day that I spent in treatment that was as hard as it was being out there trying to keep up with all of my bad habits and all of the trauma that, was brought into my life as, I was making those decisions to get high and use drugs. But I found Mount Sinai through actually another place called Black Bear, another treatment center up in North Georgia, which is also really a phenomenal treatment center. But what brought me into treatment in the first place was I'm actually a dual diagnosis patient. So I also struggle with, mental health problems like PTSD and trauma and addiction issues. So it took me several tries to, get any amount of sobriety under my belt. This is the longest that I've had since my kids were born, since 2010. And it's been really hard. But they're actually, having kids is actually what made me, actually push to try and do better. But even before that, what really pushed me to do it was that I was having so many flashbacks, from my PTSD and things like that, and it was impossible. There was no me not getting treatment. My brain had just completely shut down, and I couldn't take care of myself anymore, couldn't take care of my kids. So, I had to get really, really uncomfortable and just kind of stick with the program. But yeah, I found Mount Sinai with everybody. Michelle has a lot of trauma that, like, we have in common, but you know, I was really forced to get into treatment. Like they say, there's a saying that goes that you're either going to do jails, institutions, or death, and I've definitely seen my fair share of institutions.
Amy, I totally can relate, and I know we've talked about that before, but that was something that I was very much looking for when I was looking for a rehab as well, because, you know, this is to each his own, but I don't consider myself an alcoholic. I was addicted to escaping. I had a lot of trauma in my life, and so I needed somewhere to go that was a dual diagnosis treatment place as well, because just teaching me how to remove alcohol, I could do that for an extended amount of time, but I needed to be able to heal what was going on. And Mount Sinai definitely provided that with the therapy and everything that was going around the clock each and every single day. And then also the fact that, you know, we both had children at home waiting for us, and just dealing with our mental health issues and working through that sober, in a rehabilitation center with a bunch of people you don't know, I think definitely is why we built like a bond during that time, because we were sharing so much vulnerable information with one another and we could not escape it like we were so used to. So
Yeah, it was like, I didn't realize how much we actually did share, I guess, until like probably even like right now, just sitting back and looking back on it, it was a lot.
yeah.
I'm definitely very happy and very blessed, like you said, to even have been able to experience any kind of treatment. Mount Sinai, it was definitely the kind of change that I needed at the time. Like, you know, different facilities have different rules, and Mount Sinai definitely kind of pulled it together with the treatment that I got from Black Bear.
Amelia, I call her Amelia, okay? Y'all gotta call her Amy. This is my Amelia with Matt E's at the end. She would, when we were in therapy together, our group session, Shelly sat to the far right, Vicky sat to my right, and Amelia sat on my left. And she always had these cute dresses on, because I'm like a super girly girl. And it was awesome watching your transition, for even just from what you chose to wear. Because you would always wear the cutest dresses, and we'd be like, girl, that dress is so cute. And you were like, this is not who I am. This is just the dress I bought. I don't even dress like this at home. And I was like, okay. So it was nice getting to peel back the layers and really learn her. But I want to tell you, and I've been thinking about this since the plane, you don't know how much you affected me, honestly. When we were in therapy together, she got to hear a lot of my problems, things that, all three of you, things that the regular world does not know about Dominique Spinelli. They got to hear. And one day, I went to Mount Sinai because I always had to be the rock of the family. I always had to be the strong one, the supportive one, the one that was always moving. Like, I didn't even know what taking a break was. If I wasn't washing the dishes or making something for somebody, I was cleaning something, like always going, to the point where being of service to other people was like torture. It was so bad. So when I went to Mount Sinai, I told myself, you're going for you, because I sent me there. I found it on TikTok. Shout out to Shorty on TikTok. I found it on TikTok. So I went and I said, okay, I'm going to go here and I'm going to worry about myself. I'm not going to serve anybody. I'm not going to do anything. To the point where they have like a star student program in the rehab called like a mentor, and you get a cute little purple bracelet. I got it. One of the things that, it's not a requirement, but they expect it of a mentor, is for you to serve. And I said, y'all gave me this. I didn't ask for this. Y'all remember, I was sick.
Have it back.
Serve. I said, that's why I'm here from serving. I'm sick of serving. I'm not serving nobody. I'm serving God. That's about it. And I'm serving this attitude. And so after going and they heard my problems and such, and we became really good friends with them hearing my stories and everything. And I remember one day we went outside to have a schmiggity. We went outside to have a little schmiggity, and Amelia came over to me and she said, I was like, man, so in rehab, what do? You smoke cigarettes, you hug, and you drink a lot of coffee. That's pretty much all and you cry. Don't forget crying. So it was coffee time because we smoking, so nothing like a cigarette and coffee in the morning. It's like, 7, 8 o'clock? Mm-hmm. Smoking and having coffee. They were upstairs brewing a coffee, and I'm like, man, I could really use some coffee. And Amelia comes over, we're smoking together, and she says, oh, I'm gonna go get it. I'm gonna make it for you. How you like your coffee? And I said, no. I said, no, like, don't worry about it. I'm gonna come with you. Da-da-da. She's like, girl, sit down. She said, you don't let people do things for you, huh? And ever since you said that, I've never been the same. It's like you stopped the world on me. And I was like, I wasn't offended. The world stopped. Because I was like, wait, I don't. Even down to a compliment. It's like, if you give me one, I gotta give it back. You can't have anything for yourself. Nobody can provide you with anything unless you're reciprocating and serving back. So I was like, no, don't worry about it. Like, it's okay, I got legs. I'll be right up there. I'm gonna smoke this. And she was like, how do you like your coffee? Sit down. And ever since then, like, even the other day I was in the shower and I heard, like, you don't let nobody do nothing for you, huh? And I was like, dang. And honestly, right hand high, I go to Starbucks on the regular. Right hand high, that was one of the best cups of coffee I ever had in my entire life. And that's not satire. That's the truth.
And you know what, though? Talking about the coffee, she was on it. Listen, we were on a schedule, okay? Yeah. We had to be at sunrise at 8 a.m. and every hour on the hour till 6, 7 p.m. every single day, even Sundays. We had to be somewhere. We were accounted for, but at 8 a.m. was sunrise, so if we wanted to eat breakfast or have coffee, that means we had to be there at 7 a.m. None of us showed up, but Amy was always there early and she would brew the coffee ready. And then like so many times I would come in and be like, dang, let me get some coffee, and there was never enough, and I am not a 1 4 or 5 ounce coffee drinker, absolutely not. So she noticed that and she had got a water bottle and she was like, I know it's not hot, but I made you iced coffee, stick it in the fridge and you'll have it for later. And I'm like, you are such a blessing. I was so happy. And I literally did that every day. So every time I got my hot coffee, I would fill up this water bottle with the iced coffee. So I had that for later. And yeah. You hooked it up.
And if one pot was done, she had the next one brewing and ready
she was on it.
Ready to go. So
I have to have coffee too, so you know.
We're on it.
Yeah.
I do miss the coffee and cigarettes with you guys.
I was the only one that didn't smoke, I think, in the entire facility.
Had to have been.
For real. I was the only one without a schmiggity.
I still thought you smoked.
Yep.
Like, meanwhile, others had cartons over there.
For real.
Like, oh, well, what are you gonna do?
Didn't they sell them right there on site?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
they sold the cigarettes on site. You could buy them. I had the hookup though. I don't even smoke cigarettes, y'all. I had this one lady, God bless her. I'm not gonna say her name, but she's still in my heart. I still have the Bible verse that she gave me. And she had bought a carton for her roommate who ended up like going AWOL or something. And she's like, girl, you need some cigarettes? And she used to give me cigarettes by the pack so I didn't have to keep paying for them. So yeah. And cigarettes are cheaper in Georgia than they are in New Jersey. You cannot afford that habit in New Jersey. I'm just saying. I don't smoke no more.
Go, girl. All right, I'll drink to that. What
Salud.
we sipping on?
Salute. Well,
did you know your skin is your biggest organ? Why not give it the nutrients it needs? Nature's Technology is a wholesaler of commodities such as shea butter, cocoa butters, sea moss, and over 100 herbs for drinking and smoking. They also make natural body care products such as shea butters, deodorants, lip balms, and sugar scrubs. They also specialize in holistic herbal teas as well as party-starting herbal root drinks, mocktails, guaranteed to make the night a great one. Check them out on Instagram and TikTok at Nature's Technology 1 or on Facebook at Nature's Technology. You can also give them a call at 1-800-545-2906 and tell them To The Last Drop sent you. While you're at it, go on the website and use promo code TOTHELASTDROP, all caps, for a discount on your first order. Get yourself And remember, plants, herbs, and roots are nature's technology.
Today's drink is the Three Spirit Livener. Today we got the Livener because we lame. I mixed it with the Fever Tree ginger beer as well as the Izzy sparkling blackberry juice. And I put a little cranberry in there. I hope y'all like it, but if you feel it, let a brother know.
You are a little bartender back here with your mocktails.
For real. I met T-Pain at the hotel. Let me tell you, he liked the bartender. I really did. I gotta tell y'all about that, but we ain't gonna do that on
We're
here.
gonna get into that.
All right, guys, so that concludes this episode. Join us next week for another episode with Vicky and Amelia. And with that said, since I'm all the way out of state, Chidi and Udi, I'm coming home. Mama working on her dream. Don't miss me too much, kitty cats. Cheers to that. Cheers to that.
Hey.